I'm Clarrissa Drysdale Anderson. I am the director of You Can Free Us. I have been involved with this organization and the fight against modern slavery and human trafficking for the last 10 years. This is a very serious topic. I am passionate about it, and I think I have a lot to share with you in the next few minutes in this video. I'm also a senior consultant and specialist in ESG, which is the newest terminology to define sustainability in businesses. The three pillars, E, S, and G, they stand for environmental, social, and governance issues. So later on, we're going to see how modern slavery fits under the S of ESG, highlighting one of the social aspects of sustainability in businesses. Wellness is also an important point under sustainability. And we must take into account wellness at work, for example, which includes ethical labor practices that do not exploit human beings and that will ultimately generate brands and products which are slavery-free. So modern slavery is a very big problem. Let's start perhaps refreshing a little bit of our understanding of the concept of human trafficking and modern slavery. The awareness on this topic is growing in all levels of society, especially among the young generation, who not only understand what the problem is, but also will not tolerate it because they want to live in a slavery-free world. Modern slavery, in my opinion, is certainly the most pressing social problem of our times, one of the horrors of our generation, affecting millions of people, mainly women and children all over the world. Modern slavery is vast, it's widespread, and is a very complex problem. I will talk a little bit about the magnitude and the scale, so just you can have an idea of how large the numbers are. Conservative numbers estimate 40 million people in slavery today around the world. This amount is larger than the number of slaves during the 400 years of transatlantic slave trade. So unfortunately, slavery was not abolished hundreds of years ago, as some people might think. In the UK, the number of victims is around 150,000, which is shocking for a country with the resources, structure, and law enforcement of this one. $354 billion of products imported by the G20 countries are at risk regarding slavery. $150 billion is the estimated global annual profit from modern slavery activities. This is now the second largest organized crime in the world. There are 152 million children trapped in child labor. 1 in 4 victims is a child. Every 30 seconds, a person is trafficked in some part of the world. And now, with the COVID-19 pandemic, the numbers are unfortunately rising. As poverty grows, vulnerabilities are exposed, and people are being sold as commodities for different purposes in several parts of the world. This is a tragic situation. Modern slavery is also widespread. It is present in all parts of the world, including your neighborhood. 167 countries have reported to be a source, transit, or destination for human trafficking. This is a very complex problem. It involves different industries. It is transnational, and therefore it requires transnational solutions. It comes in different forms. So modern slavery involves sex trafficking, forced labor, bonded labor, child labor, forced trafficking, child marriage. A problem of this level of magnitude and complexity calls for the collaboration across society. So we're talking about governments, NGOs, corporate sector, all coming together to solve this problem. But actually, the key role is played by society. Individuals like you, like me, learning about this issue, raising awareness, and making the right choices, supporting the right brands, and getting involved to solve it. Before I go any further talking about the response of You Can Free Us and some of the possible ways that you can join this fight and help to solve the problem, I'd like to stop and draw your attention to a short 90 seconds film on this topic that we produced in 2019. This film is called Switch. Switch portrays the weight and the magnitude of the problem of modern slavery in today's society. A tragic reality that is present in the heart of every city in the world, including London. So perhaps it's time for you to switch on your awareness on modern slavery, to switch your mindset on this topic, and to switch off slavery. The film clearly showed that modern slavery is a crime hidden in plain sight. This film was made in India, on a busy street of Mumbai, but it could have been made in any other city in the world. The scene could have been in Piccadilly Circus, and you would have been just as relevant, because modern slavery is a global problem, but it's also all around us. Some, as we saw in the film, choose to ignore it. Some are just too busy to deal with it. Some are too scared to face it. But the truth is that if you refuse to see them, how can you free them? The voices that echo from dark places, from the dark places of exploitation and slavery, they say, you can free us. How? With your choices, with your resources, with your connections, with your voice. Being a voice to the voiceless. Different organizations touch specific parts of this very complex ecosystem. So what is the response of You Can Free Us? We are an international human rights organization that fights modern slavery in two different fronts. The victim care, through rescue and rehabilitation of survivors, mainly women and children, but also on the prevention area, through advocacy and education. So since 2020, we have rescued and successfully rehabilitated hundreds of women and children out of sex trafficking, as well as other industries. These women and children, the survivors, they will come into our safe houses and training centers in India for a period of 2 years. We really believe in the long-term rehabilitation. During this period, we offer a comprehensive program that includes medical care, accommodation, clothing, food, education, vocational training, as well as employment. We run safe houses and training centers in Mumbai, and the survivors stay with us until they are ready to live an independent life, until they are truly free from the trauma. But rescue and rehabilitation are not enough. Is there anything we can do to actually stop the problem from happening in the first place? Our prevention initiatives include awareness campaigns through fashion, art, and sports, as well as talks and educational workshops in schools and corporations. We also have produced merchandise. We call it merchandise with a story. We call it fashion for freedom. Jewelry, scarves, t-shirts. These are products with a true story behind it. Stories that captivate the hearts. We also have recently launched Libertas. Libertas is a comprehensive school curriculum on modern slavery for the youth. It targets the ages 14 to 18, and it aims at, number one, protecting the young people from becoming victims of human trafficking themselves. Number two, empowering them with the knowledge to take a stand against modern slavery by making the right decisions. So today, Libertas, this curriculum, is in a book and e-book format, but the long-term vision is actually to develop it into an e-learning, interactive, digital platform with videos and content that can reach the youth. On the business side, the topic of modern slavery has become more and more relevant. I mentioned in the beginning that I work as a consultant in the ESG area, which again, for those not familiar with the terminology, it means environmental, social, and governance. Businesses are trying to achieve sustainability by identifying and mitigating their ESG risks and by ensuring that their business models not only avoid harming the environment and society, but also they cause a positive impact. I work with businesses around the world in the interdependencies between the E, the S, and the G. When you look at the S, the social aspects, modern slavery in supply chains is a major issue today to be considered. Just as businesses want to cut their carbon emissions, they also want to reduce and eliminate their slavery footprint. The problem is that with the globalized supply chains, it is often very difficult to track slavery all the way back to the source. From raw extraction to plantation to manufacturing, transport, retail across different borders. But the growing need for companies to align their strategic objectives to the UN's Sustainable Development Goals has been pushing businesses to a greater level of scrutiny in this area, especially in the coming years. You Can Free's vision is a world without slavery, where every human is entitled to freedom and dignity. So the question is, can we achieve it? Can we end modern slavery? How can we change the global narrative? Yes, there is hope. You Can Free is about changing life stories, and every life story can be changed. I have seen many stories of lives transformed. Women who were betrayed, sold by family members, neighbors, tricked by teachers and boyfriends, all in the pursuit of a better life, a job in the big city, survival. Some of these women were forced to see 30 to 40 men every night for sex purposes. I have seen women and children exploited in factories around the world. I've met women who were beaten, tortured, who didn't see the sunlight for years. But there is also hope. With love, care, and a well-structured program that gives survivors the opportunity to recover, I have also seen the very same women restored. I've seen them become chefs in five-star hotels, real estate agents. I've seen women who remarried, set up families, women who became nurses, lawyers, women who also joined us in this fight against modern slavery to rescue other women and children. So the answer is there is hope. This is actually a story of hope. If there are dedicated financial and human resources available, as well as changes in the country's legislation, law enforcement, support from governments, collaboration among NGOs and the private sector through CSR, corporate social responsibility programs, yes, modern slavery can be eliminated from our societies. And the ultimate drivers are actually people like you and me who will not tolerate slavery, knowing that we will never be truly free if there are other human beings imprisoned in modern slavery. Wilberforce, the great abolitionist, once said, You may choose to look the other way, but you can never say again that you didn't know. So if you are confronted with a reality and you have in your hands the power to do something about it, you should do it. Because this is actually the call upon your life. It is linked to the very purpose of your existence. So if you don't do something about it, you will probably regret it. There are many ways that you can help to support this cause. First, of course, we need financial resources to run the rescue and rehabilitation programs. So you can donate, for example. A monthly contribution of only £35 a month provides health care and wellness for one beneficiary, one survivor. You can fundraise. There are different ways that you can fundraise for us. You can include You Can Free Us in your estate planning, in your will. You can donate stocks to You Can Free Us or even cryptocurrency. You can host someone from our leadership team to talk in your organization or your community. You can organize a fundraising event, a 5K run, a fashion event. We have done so many around the world. You can raise awareness about modern slavery and about the work of You Can Free Us by using the power of your network and your social media to influence the debate and to change the narrative. You can volunteer. Depending on your skills and your interests, there is a lot you can do in the UK, but also in our operations in India and in other parts of the world. If you're a business, you can donate a portion of your product sales or your profits to the fight against modern slavery. Or you can consider creating a CSR program, a corporate social responsibility program in your organization that can support the work in the victim area or in the educational side of it. For example, through Libertas. You can contact us on our website in the UK for donations. It's www.youcanfreeusuk.org. You can book a meeting to discuss your participation in this movement. We'll be very happy to hear from you. And let's together fight to end modern slavery in our generation, because ultimately, can we be truly well and free in a world tarnished by slavery? This is your chance to take a stand. So I'm looking forward to seeing you all on September the 4th and 5th at Wellnergy in Conbury Park. Thank you.